Hello. Hi, everybody. It's me, Jennifer Stenhouse from Little Metal Foxes, and I've got tool tips for you tonight. Julia's going to be joining me, and we're going to be talking about vermiculite in the studio. Pros and cons, what it can do for you, having some around. Here comes Julia. There we go. Miss Lowther, here she comes. Hey, hello. Hello, how are you? Hi. Hi,
Hey,
everybody. Hello.
we have to adjust the feed. There we go.
Hi there. There we are.
Hi,
Turn it up a little bit so I can hear you. There we are. Well, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Running around,
Good.
running errands, stuff.
Yeah. Oh God, I tell you, man. For those of you who have already had COVID, I get it now. I'm. It was like it's done. I'm over it. I tested negative. It's still kicking my butt, and not in the way that you would expect. It's kicked off my fibromyalgia and caused other things to happen, and I've just been exhausted
I'm
every
so sorry.
freaking minute. And so I'm doing better today, but the last, like, since Thursday, oh my God, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, just seriously have just been like, oh my God, just roll me into a pillow someplace and I'll be
Aw.
fine. So, but yeah, for those of you that have had it, I'm so sorry. And for those of you that haven't had it yet, plan some sleeping time afterwards, because it's amazing how it just zaps your energy after the fact. So be
Yeah.
prepared. Yeah. Anyway, hi there. So Julia, we've got some fun stuff coming up.
I know. I must have grabbed my box of stamps and punches. Hold on.
Oh yeah. So we just did. We had a great weekend with finishing and polishing. Lots of fun folks in there. That was a lot of fun. We went over by a healthy proportion, and just got like all of the. Oh my gosh, my computer's flipping out. So we just got all of the cool stuff done, finishing everybody's stuff and figuring out stuff that makes everybody happy, and how to use the flex shaft and what all the bits and bobs are for. And oh my gosh, it was great. We had a great time, and everybody participated. I was so happy. Thank you, everybody that was there this weekend. It was awesome. Hi, hello, Karen. How are you? But yeah, it was a really good class this weekend. I was really happy with them. But this coming weekend, we have Julia doing Make Your Mark, and you're going to be making stamps and punches, right?
Yes, and actually, I have a bunch of them here. So, and I love how they get this. I love how when they're tempered, they get these beautiful colors on them. These were all made from drill rod. So I'm going to show you guys how to make all these fun stamps and punches.
Yeah.
And but you don't have to use drill rod is nice because it comes pre-annealed, and it's it's like you cut it to length and you go off you go. But you can repurpose tools, and that is where the topic of tonight's tool tip comes in, because things like this, for example, these pieces. Let me get them so I can hold them better. These were all made from repurposed files.
Oh yeah.
So these two were part of a repurposed triangular file. So you can kind of see, if you look really closely, you can kind of see the texture of the file, because it's been ground off, like the file has been ground off, but you can sort of see it's still there. So these were two parts of a triangular file. This was like a flat file, well, a barrette file kind of. And I will talk about why this stamp is not ideal, because there's some issues with this stamp. And if you come to the class on Saturday, you'll find out why this is not ideal. And it's not the metal.
The thing about the class is that you're going to be teaching them how to make their own stamps and marks.
I'm going to be teaching them how to make their own stamps and how to make the right kind, the right shape, how to do the shaping.
Recycling their old steel, working with the right steel, and Yeah, doing
So
fancy
this
bits like
one, see how
that.
pretty
I
this
love that.
is? This is a recycled Allen wrench.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So you take the Allen wrench and it started out, and I love the hexagonal shape of these. They feel so
Mm-hmm.
good in your hand. And then
Yep.
when you straighten it out, you have to twist it. But
Yeah.
I
Or
would
you
talk
can
about,
twist it.
you
Yeah.
can twist it.
You
So the
can
thing
twist it.
is, though, that when you're repurposing tool steel, you have to anneal it.
Yeah.
And in order to anneal it, you need some of this,
Yeah. Yeah. You can do that. That works.
some vermiculite, which,
Yeah. Well, and depending on what kind of steel you're working with and all that, so I'm sure you're going to talk about all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. I
Chris says
prefer
he
oil
loves this
hardening steel.
process.
And sorry, when?
Yeah. Karen waved, and Chris said
Mm,
he loves this process, which we know.
yes,
We
we
know you,
don't.
Chris.
So, so yeah. So this is
Yeah.
vermiculite.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a
Vermiculite.
second. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, okay, fine.
So we've got your Make Your Mark class is coming up on the 10th, and we've got alternative stone settings, which is adding gold vessels. And this is the second section that we've added because the first one filled up so fast. We had a
Right.
lot of people
And this
that
one's
couldn't get
getting
in.
really full, folks. So if you
It's
want to
getting
get
full
in on
quick.
it, sign up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's that. You've got Studio Sparks coming up, which
that's
we're
true.
also very excited about. And Studio Sparks is you've got Studio Sparks is really an interesting class, and it's great because you give them a way to sort of like give them a spark, and they go and work on it for a week, gets them in the studio, and you guys come back and have some group discussion and critique and where you went with the idea. And it's an amazing kind of class, and you based it on like a writers group, right?
Right. A friend of mine, Sarah Selecki, a wonderful writer, she has an online writing school. And one of the things that she was doing, she was actually doing this on Twitter. She was tweeting these out, and she would do a daily writing prompt. And it would be, write something about a beetle and a cushion, right? Or whatever. I mean, like they were completely random, and they weren't supposed to be. This is not going to be a magnum opus. You're supposed to write like a paragraph. It's just a prompt to get you started, to get your brain kind of warmed up, get you going in the morning. And it's like, what am I going to write about? Well, I'll write about a cat and a cushion or whatever, or a beetle and a cushion. And I just thought that was a really interesting idea of the warm up, and so I wanted to create something that would be like that for the studio, would be like warm-ups for you in the studio. So the prompts are just jumping off places, and if you join the group, it's more of a jewelry support group.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
It's really fun because I love seeing where people go with the ideas. I know one of my favorites that you came up with was make a ring out of 3 wires. Right? Just take 3 pieces of wire and make a ring. And that's all the prompt is. And so the prompt isn't telling you anything about how to do it or what kind of wire or what shapes, anything. And so it's really cool to see how different people interpret that, what they produce, right? Like how all those things differ.
There was one that you did that that you had said it, and you had an idea of what it was, and I had like a completely different take on what that was. I was like, it didn't even occur to me that you were thinking one thing, and I was like over here, and which is really kind of cool because it gives you all a chance to discuss that as well and look at things from a different point of view, which I think is really good, and it gives people a chance to give you feedback on your work, which is, I think, for a lot of people, they're kind of like, they're sensitive and they don't want necessarily, people like ragging on them and giving them a hard time in a,
that's
like a
not,
graduate
that's
critique.
not what Sparks is about. No,
but
this is not that.
Because it's a support
group
that's like, let's all start with the word frozen or the word, trapped, or whatever. And then jump off, and everybody sort of does something that is, what comes to mind first, or
Mhm.
and how they interpret it in a piece of work. And a lot of them are still working in the same way that they would normally work with materials they might work with. Some of them are trying new materials and new techniques, but it's really kind of interesting to see how people do that springboard and discuss it. I just find it
Well, and
fascinating, and it's a really good group.
you've had a chance to sort of see a little bit of that because we use Padlet to,
Mm-hmm.
for people to post, like I'll post the spark on each day for Padlet, and then people will, as they do stuff, they'll kind of post images of what they're working on or what's coming to
Right.
them. And it's
Right.
really fun to kind of like go down the column and see how different people responded to it. But then also you kind of have that almost real-time interaction with the group, because we
Yeah.
only meet once a week. So we meet once a
Right.
week on Zoom, but during the weekdays, you get 5 different sparks during the weekdays. And then there's this kind of interaction that happens on Padlet because you can make, you can comment on images or you can ask questions and, people will respond. Usually
some people
people are
don't
like,
do
oh,
every
I'm not so
single
sure
one.
about this. Like someone will post
Yeah.
something and they'll be like, well, I'm not so sure I like how this turned out. And everybody else would be like, I think it's amazing. Right?
Yeah. This is what's working. Yeah.
Right.
But
Exactly.
it's nice. I mean, because some people will find things. It's like, I found a poem instead of that, instead of making something that inspired me, or, so I think it's really kind of interesting for, a discussion group and
It
what's
is.
coming up.
And
So
there have been some really cool pieces. I mean, the point of it is just to sort of like jump you off and like warm you up. And so it's not supposed to really like become a thing, but a number of people have taken the spark and like have kind of gone down
taken it
into the
multiple
thing and
times.
made really, really beautiful finished pieces that took many hours to make that they're like really love. So that makes me super happy too.
Yeah. Or they'll do it as a series. They've been working in series on things, which is really kind of fascinating too. Well, we've got also we have a new instructor coming up, Leslie Perino. And
I can't wait.
Those of you that don't know Leslie Perino, one, go follow her on Instagram and check out her work. She is an amazing enamelist. She really has found some unique ways to do patterns on enamel, and that's one of the things that she's going to be talking about in the workshop. And it's a 2-day workshop. She's going to be talking about using texture folders or embossing folders to emboss the metal, and then use that to create the pattern and the colors, the pattern, everything. So all levels of skill are welcome. You don't have to have a full-on kiln to do this. You can do a torch fire, or an ultralight kiln. So you can do it on a small scale. You don't have to go like buy a $600 kiln to be able to do this. But it's, and if you're already doing enameling, this is an amazing technique that she's going to be talking about that can add all kinds of dimension to your work. So go check it out and sign up for that. And then we've got setting up your home studio that weekend. Your torch is coming up, and some more alternative stone setting classes. But the other thing that we've got for you guys that are here right now, if you sign up anytime, if you have a purchase you want to do anytime between now and the end of September, you could use the discount code back to school 10, all one word, back to school 10, and that'll get you 10.
TOSCHOOL 10, all one thing, and caps, all caps. So it's back to school. It's all the words back to school, not two with a number. Back to school 10, all caps.
And that will get you 10% off the entire purchase. So if you want to get one class or you want to get a whole bunch of them, it's 10% off of everything. And for something like Leslie's class, which is a little more expensive, that is a chunk of change to have off of that class. So
buy you a few embossing folders.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So so save some money and get into the classroom and come join us for that. And also we've got a drawing going on for what Metalsmith Society's Guide to Jewelry Making. So there is in the feed, you'll see our giveaway post, And if you like it, share it, tag a couple people, and you'll be in the drawing for the book. And we're going to do that actually this coming, we're going to not do it tonight. We're going to do it next Tuesday because I want to give people enough time to sign up for it. A week from today is the drawing. So
get busy.
Copy this
tap,
book.
tap with your little fingers. Tag people.
Copy this book. And I've got some other little spiffy things in there for you guys. So a little bit of swag for you guys as well. And
everyone loves swag.
Say what?
Everyone loves swag.
Everyone loves swag. So I've got a little bit of swag. One's from Tanya Davidson and a sticker or two. So yeah, so we've got some other stuff in there as well. But like it, share it with 3 friends, or share it, tag 3 friends, and we're going to do the drawing a week from tonight. So so there's that. If you're interested in getting the book, sign up, go do that. But tooltip time. Let's talk about tooltips, Julia. So you were about to jump right in with the vermiculite.
Yeah, well, usually you just jump right in at the top of the hour. I didn't know you were going to do classes first. Like, I didn't get the memo.
Yeah, let's do a little bit of tooltip. Well, it's so funny because people will see us and join us after. So I'm kind of like toward the end where we're talking about that, not talking about tools. So I thought, let's try it the other way around. So
fine, fair.
Vermiculite. So so where do you usually get your vermiculite?
I get my vermiculite from a nursery, and it's going to come in a bag like this.
That's a big one.
Well,
that's a big bag.
Really? You think that's a big bag?
That's a big bag.
12 quarts. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's from Unigrow, premium organic vermiculite, certified asbestos-free, ready to use. I mean, what it's used for in the gardening world is it absorbs liquid really well, and so you put it in potting soil, and it makes the potting soil be able to hold more water. So if you're using it in gardening, you're going to need a big bag. I didn't realize it came in smaller bags than this. I think
so. I think you can get it like at little plant shops and things like that instead of like a garden center. I think you can get it in smaller quantities, probably. I get mine.
Go in with 3 friends and get some, because it doesn't wear out the way we use it. You get yours where?
Yeah. Right, I get mine. So sometimes they'll use it as a packing material, and I'll save it. So it's a lot of times
super light. So I can I have actually. I mean, when they use it as a packing material, is it in a bag or is it loose?
Yeah, it's usually in a bag. Yeah, it's usually in a bag. A lot of times it has like flux in it or something that they're shipping that they want to make sure that it would absorb.
Yeah,
it'll absorb it if it leaks. And so, if I get it, my bottle hasn't leaked onto it, I hold on to it and use it. So I've got, a couple of bags that I'll, use, and I've got some that I got for potting soil at the house that I've mixed into it.
Well, if you need more, I still have like half a bag, right?
What is vermiculite?
Well, what is it? Let's just see what Unigrow says. So Unigrow, premium organic vermiculite, says, premium organic vermiculite is a mica-type mineral that has been heated, causing it to expand into accordion-like particles which absorb nutrients as well as water and will contribute some potassium and magnesium. Anyway, then it goes on. Yeah. Retains both air and water and is useful in conditioning container soils. So it's like organic packing peanuts, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, essentially. Well, it's like microwaved mica.
It's microwaved mica, yeah.
Yeah,
and so
it's mica.
It's a popped mica. I wish you could see it. It has this little accordion. I don't know. That's going to be too close.
Yeah. Well, and it's really kind of cool because it has that little bit of like flashiness that mica has. So you can kind of see but it's very lightweight. It's very lightweight. So
right. Well, you saw me lifting the bag. I'm not it's
very lightweight stuff. Well, what besides the garden and like I said, it comes as a packing material for things that might, leak sometimes.
Right.
So I'll take out something like a bottle of flux and I've got leftover vermiculite. And I found for me that I like to use it for two things. One, if I'm soldering, sometimes I have to solder like a gem ball onto a wire, and I don't want to, the gem ball is fine. There's usually a heat sink, like tweezers between, the gem and where I'm soldering, like putting a jump ring on the top. But I know that that gem is going to get warm, a little bit warm, and I don't want to quench it, because if I quench a gem, chances are it can break, and
Oh yeah.
sometimes it'll pop.
You heat
And
shock it. Yep.
yeah, and I don't want to heat shock any of these materials for two reasons. One, I don't want the gemstone to break, and two, I don't want it to, splatter, on that drop, and explode at the same time. So what I usually do is I'll have a little tin of vermiculite, and after I solder them, I'll set them in there and let them just cool down, and that works really well. So I have
That's what
found
bead
for that.
makers, bead makers use it for that, right? That
Exactly.
they'll cool
Yeah.
their glass beads in it.
Yeah.
Because
So
it won't stick to the glass, right?
right.
So that's the
And a
thing.
lot of enamelists will use it for the same thing. So if they're making
Exactly.
enamel beads, they'll put it into vermiculite and let it cool down slowly so that it's not cracking on something cold,
Right.
immediately.
Right.
But yeah, so to slow down some of that heating for glass and for beads and things, it works great. So what are you using it for when it comes to the tool making stuff? What do you use it
Same
for?
thing. So I'm using it to cool the steel as slowly as possible to keep it annealed, because you want
Right.
the steel to be soft so that you can file it and shape it. And then after you've shaped the tool, then you harden it, which makes it brittle. And then you temper it, which gives you these beautiful colors on the end, the temper colors, gorgeous colors. And you want it that sort of straw yellow on the end that tells you that the end here is tough but not brittle, right? Because you don't want it to shatter. So it's all about using the natural properties of the steel to your advantage, because you want like the back end of the tool to stay soft so that when you hit it, it transfers, it won't shatter either, and it transfers the blow. And then the front end needs to be hard but not brittle. So, it's all
Yeah.
about that. But the vermiculite, I put it in a bread pan and use it.
Yeah.
When I use it, it's for when I'm repurposing tools. So it's most useful for something like this, where I'm repurposing the Allen wrench.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I have to, because this thing has been hardened. It's been made and shaped and ready to use as a tool. So I have to soften it up so that I can
Right.
file it to shape the end.
Right.
And that's when the vermiculite comes in handy. And I will show everybody, how do you know when you're ready to, it's like there's a special magic process that you have to use to figure out when it is hot, has been hot enough that it's annealed.
Well, the interesting thing about vermiculite, because it is one of the things that you'd said about safety stuff, is that with an organic material like this, it can still have some safety issues, and sometimes it will have things that are like silica, and some of them would contain asbestos. So this one is asbestos free, which is important to note.
No, it says on here, certified asbestos free.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and
I
that's
didn't
always
realize that sometimes, asbestos is a mineral too.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's a naturally occurring mineral. So it doesn't, I hadn't thought about it, but it makes sense that mica and asbestos might be in the same location.
Yeah. Well, and it works well as like a heat insulator. So that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons that they sort of show up together, I think, too. But the anything that has like tiger eye, for example, has asbestos fibers in it, and that's what creates that chatoyancy. So you can see the way that the little fibers are lining up and creating that sparkle is actually like asbestos fibers. And it's hey Jen, it's can be really, you have to take a lot of care when you're cutting things like certain minerals that come by that naturally. So just being aware of that. But yeah, yours is certified asbestos free, which I appreciate. And but yeah,
Or
I think
organic vermiculite.
organic,
No additive.
which I mean, here's the thing, people, about the word organic. Being certified organic takes a lot of money, and it can actually kill a farm trying to raise organic stuff because the fees are so high to do that, to get you licensed. However, rattlesnakes are pretty much organic, but they will kill you. Right? There are lots of poisonous plants out there that are completely organic, and they will kill you. So yeah, it's
You're basically what you're saying is you still need to understand the material you're working with and work with it
exactly
safely.
right.
So,
exactly right. Yeah.
Luckily for us, vermiculite is quite inert, and we're using it we're not like burning it or doing other things to it. We're just putting hot metal into it, and it doesn't even smoke. It doesn't burn. It's light. It's an insulator. So that's why it cools things slowly, because it insulates them. So it's like little, push it down into the little bed of vermiculite, and it's like, ooh, it keeps it all toasty warm.
Yeah. And that's so it's really handy for that. And I usually have just a little like ceramic bowl that I usually just, set things in. But it works great. A lot of people that do make beads, like you were saying, will use like a bread pan, and they will like suspend them like into the vermiculite like that. And the thing I like about it too is, like you said, it's so lightweight and it's easy to store. It's easy to sort of like, you just put in a little envelope and set aside.
Put it in a Ziploc bag and zip it up, and like, this is the amount that goes into my bread pan for whenever I'm making tools, and so it's like, here's my Ziploc bag of vermiculite. This came out of this bigger bag. It's like,
it doesn't get, and this will last me a lifetime. This little bit.
Oh, I know, because it doesn't get used up. It just it just keeps on pulling the heat out of your thing. But
it just keeps on giving.
It keeps on taking the heat, but very slowly. So I love Helen's use for it.
Me too. And Helen's use for it is the pickle pot, which I think is genius. So what Helen will do, I've got water in mine, and I'll use like little jars for my pickle, for my patinas, and I can set them into the water and warm it up. And
so the water in the water in the crock pot is hot, but the water in the crock pot is clean, and then you insert another jar into the crock pot with your pickle, and then the hot water heats it up, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay,
so
Helen went you one better.
So Helen was like, oh, that's interesting. I use vermiculite in mine, and it works great. And I was like, that's a brilliant idea. So Helen has like vermiculite in hers, her crock pot, the little, instead of filling it with pickle, which is going to eat the glass over time, the ceramic surface over time. And I've had so many crock pots over the years, and I've just found it's like, why am I putting it in the crock pot? Why don't I just put it in a jar, which is a smaller quantity? I'm working pretty small. If you're working big on big stuff, it makes sense. But, or if I've got lots of little things, putting them into a little jar is so much easier than trying to fish them out of a big hot tub of, goo. So anyway, and, the crock pot stays cleaner longer. I don't have to worry about, sealing it or protecting it and, from chemicals, but it will eat through the ceramic on your
It
crock
will
pot.
eventually, and then it just gets down on, and once it's eaten through the ceramic, then it goes down and like shorts everything out, and then your crock pot is dead, and it's a big mess. Which is probably what's going to happen.
It's a safety issue too, because I've had people like I was actually in a classroom situation, and they were like, why am I getting shocked every time I touch the crock pot? And I'm like, let's unplug that. And sure enough, it had it was leaking, and it was like it was zapping them on the edge of the crock pot. And so be careful, because that's
the So
That
this is
sucks.
great. You're not putting any liquid in the crock pot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you basically just have this fluffy little container of
Yeah.
vermiculite, and then you just push the jar of liquid down in the
Yep.
center,
Push it down
and
in there.
so
Keeps it
it
warm.
warms it up. I mean,
Yep.
it's like a duvet. It's like a duvet for your pickle.
Exactly. How
It's so
fancy.
lightweight, you don't even know. It's like
Yeah.
down, and it's a
Yeah.
duvet.
It's like a
Pickle
down
duvet.
duvet for, yeah, sort of like a European comforter for for your pickle. But, I mean, seriously, it is, whether you're using water or vermiculite, it will completely extend the life of your crock pot. It makes it much, much easier when you're working with, a quantity of pickle that's this big rather than like an entire crock pot full of chemicals. So this makes it much easier to contain it, to work with it, and to dispose of it, to neutralize it, and all that stuff, instead of having to do that to the entire crock pot every time. But the benefit is that I can use it to, just take this jar out, put in, if I'm doing brass, I'm usually using a vinegar and salt rather than sodium bisulfate style pickle. But I can also drop in a thing of warm water for doing some liver of sulfur patinas. So, I can just switch it out, and it's not a big deal. Just put one in, take one out. Or if they're small enough jars, I can have more than one jar in there. I just have to be careful not to, mix and match my chemicals. But I usually only put one jar in at a time because my crock pot's not that big. But in a bigger one, you could have, multiple jars in there.
But yeah, I just thought that was, so it's, it's great because now when you have to go buy the big bag, then you can put, half of it in the crock pot,
Yeah.
and then you have the other bag for, using as a bed for annealing or for cooling pieces you're working on that have
Absolutely.
cool slowly, or for cooling tool steel, whatever. So
yeah, absolutely. It's worth it just to, have some in your studio. So if you're
and it doesn't cost very
if you're
much.
not a potter, if you're not a potter, talk to somebody that that has a garden and see if they've got some they can give you, or if you at a small like plant shop, I'll bet they've got smaller bags of it that you can
maybe
get.
yeah they're probably, I mean, I don't know.
You should get small bags of potting soil too there.
That's true. I mean, yeah. I'm sure you could, or find a friend and share.
Find a friend and share. Yeah.
Buy one bag.
If you are part of a guild, break it down into small bags and give it to everyone as a gift for Christmas.
There you go.
Here's my gift of vermiculite. Here's all the things you can do with it. That'd be so much fun for a trade, like a tooltip trade for Christmas. What a great idea. Let's do that.
That would be fun. Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, give that a try. And yeah. So anyway, great tool tips, Julia. Awesome. Again, sign up for the Make Your Mark stamp class.
Stamps and punches.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you can make unique stamps. You can make your own signature stamp.
I know. You can make any shape you want.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So
that's
coming up. That's Saturday?
I think so.
The 10th.
You're the one that has the computer. I'm not. I'm on my phone, so I can't check my phone. I think it's Saturday.
I think it's the 10th. Yeah. It's the 10th. But yeah, the 10th. And it's what, a 3-hour class?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
I think it's 3 because I think it's like $4. So
absolutely.
Yeah, you do the back to school 10, get 10% off. Join me. It'll be a lot of fun. You can make stamps. You can make punches. I have a little stamp that I use to like harden when you make a box clasp and you bend the tongue back, and you want the part at the end to be hard because you want where the bend is, because you want it to be really springy. And so I have a little stamp that I use to planish the surface there so that it, will just be perfect. You can also make like little tools for setting rivets, that kind of thing.
Right.
So
right.
You can even make little tools to stamp into the heads of rivets. So
yeah, I love the idea of being able to, you know, do your own pattern stamps and to be able to do
Yeah.
your own signature stamps, you know, like a Hallmark kind of stamp. I think those are great ideas. And, you know, if you don't have your own signature stamp yet or something with your symbol on it, that can be a great way to do it. You know, make your own, and then you know it's yours when it goes out into the world and you've got your, you know, your mark on it that is your thing. And you might have like, you know, one stamp that you use for certain years and then a new stamp that you use for future years. And so it can be really cool.
Well, and
Also too,
if you like chasing and repoussé, I mean, the
oh
chasing
yeah,
and repoussé people, the reason they have so many stamps is
because
because
they make them.
they keep making them, because they'll get into a position where they're like, I need a thing that is exactly this shape and this size because I'm
Right.
trying to make just exactly this, you know, curve, do this thing, bend, whatever. And so they'll just make a new one to
Yeah.
meet the needs of the moment. And
Right.
then they may or may
Absolutely.
not use that
Absolutely.
again in the future, but you know, it's there. And
Well,
learning
and the
how
thing is,
to,
it can be altered again. You don't have to use
it can
that
be
same,
altered again. Exactly.
right?
And
Yeah.
I was going to say, you can use the same technique that I'm going to teach you in terms of annealing and processing and changing and then hardening and whatever. If you have like a pair of pliers and you want to bend things and make them be a particular shape or do whatever and you want to
Hmm.
adjust them, you
Or
can
make your
adjust
own
them.
burnisher.
Your burnisher, you want to make something different, make a different shape, you can
Hmm.
adjust it, and then you know how to harden it and temper it again so
Yeah.
that it will
Yeah.
last you a
I've made
lifetime.
my own. I've made my own scraper and burnishers. And I like doing scrapers because sometimes I need something like to like scrape a bit of metal away to clean up something, and then burnish it down, and that will, like any deep gouges, you kind of do a scraping pattern and then burnish it, and that does really well. So you're not actually like grinding into the surface, you know, makes it like sanding the whole surface.
Right.
Um, but I really like doing that. I like having tools that I can use that are customized for stone setting. I
Right.
like being able to,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
do
you
those
can
patterns and
do
everything.
punches for heavy bezel setting, that kind of thing.
Right, right,
Yeah.
yeah,
hmm
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, make your
And if
mark
you're
is this weekend
left-handed,
on the 10th.
the
Oh,
punch that you use for heavy bezel setting is backward. You know, you have to do it the other way, right? Because you're
hmm.
going around the stone the other way.
All right, yeah, right, yeah. So yeah, customizing your bezel tools, customizing your stone setting tools, making your own stamps for, you know, every purpose under the sun, and repurposing your old steel, or, you know, yeah, using the steel again. Files get dull. All kinds of tools get dull and beat up, and you know. And I love the fact that you're giving the steel another life, another purpose.
Right.
So yeah,
Actually, Matthew Chemeny, the art of stamping guy,
yeah,
his favorite tools, his favorite steel for making his punches is other old tools, because he's
me
like,
too.
the quality of the steel has changed over the
Yeah,
decades, and so repurposing old tools can actually give you a better quality tool than buying a new one.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, and there really is something to just the feel of it. You know, when you're repurposing an old tool that you made versus buying something that's, you know, I mean, I like tools. I like tools, but yeah, my stamps and my punches are all, hey, Kathleen, are all uh, twisted, fluted. They're the length that I want them to be.
hmm
They're customized for my hand, and they're just beautiful. They feel good, you know. So yeah, absolutely.
I know. I
Okay,
love the
so
hexagonal shape of the old Allen wrenches with the little twist in here. I just love that. It just works for me. And yes,
absolutely,
people. So don't
yeah.
forget,
Don't
go
forget.
tag
So
people, sign
sign
up,
up,
whatever,
sign up.
follow.
Yep, sign up for the class when you get a chance. And there's lots of them coming up. Take the back to school 10 discount to get 10% off your purchase. And it's a one-time use until the end of September. But it's classes, whatever classes that you want to sign up for between now and whatever's on there. Sign up for all of them if you want. And then if you just need to use the discount before the end of September
Right.
to get 10% off. So also, we're going to be doing the book drawing a week from tonight. And it's congratulations again to Corky Bolton on her new book, Metalsmith Society Guide to Jewelry Making. It is a beautiful book, by the way. And it is, yeah, it's just great. I love this book. And we've got a little swag in there for you too. So in the feed, you'll see our post that has that, and just like it, share it, tag 3 friends, go sign up for Metalsmith Society, follow them, be a Patreon, which helps her do stuff like this. And I'm a Patreon, and I got 2 books, and I get all of her newsletters and stuff too. But a little bit helps her be able to provide you also with great information and to work on books like that. So I like being a Patreon for Metalsmith Society. I've got Metalsmith Society stickers and over there, and yeah, love the swag. And we've got some new stickers coming out too. So
maybe,
keep an eye out for
working on them.
New stickers. All right, my friend. Thank you for sharing your vermiculite info.
I know.
And it's one of those things that you just, don't think about. And yeah, it's a good one. So everybody, we'll see you in the stamp class this weekend and or on our tooltips next week. And don't forget, you can see all 80 now of the tooltips on YouTube. You can go back and see all of them over the last year and a half that we've done. So check out the other tooltips on YouTube, Little Metal Fox's channel. Smash the like button and follow us there. But if you click the bell anytime we have an update or a live thing going on, like Playing with Fire, or which we've got another one scheduled coming up in, is it November? October. It's
October, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a Playing with Fire coming up.
Helen has some cool stuff she wants to play with, and so we're like, well, let's do Playing with Fire. So yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a great Playing with Fire coming up, and that's going to be live. Yay, tooltips. So check out the tooltips. There's lots of other stuff on the YouTube channel as well that's free content, that's great information. And and sign up for our newsletter so you can get the discounts when they appear and know what's going on. We've got tips and article sort of information. We only send out, we've only got the energy to do 1 a month. So if you sign up for the newsletter and subscribe, that's what you're signing up for, is us really working hard to get one newsletter.
Here's what classes are coming, and if we have a discount or any other promotion that we're running, we'll let you know. Right? That's pretty much all we're going to get. Yeah, absolutely.
So it helps you stay informed about what's coming up if you're not looking at Instagram all the time. So anyway, have a great week, Julia. Great to see you, my dear.
I know. Likewise. Bye, everybody.
I will talk to you later. Bye, everybody.